But basically, it traps these bacteria in these nets, and these nets are marked with these like grenades that basically kill these cells. And when you look at it on a macroscopic level, these millions and millions of dead cells, it has a whitish color. And on your face, if you remember that disgusting core picture from the very, very beginning, that thing's gonna be seared my eyes. I've been trying to forget this entire time, and I just can't stop seeing it when I close my eyes. Thanks. You have a bunch of bacteria hanging out, in these pores and things like that. And where you usually get pus, it's in your face when you have acne and things like that. This is the reason you have pus. It's a good thing. It means your immune system's working. You should cultivate, your immune system, I guess would be the message here. Or at least don't hide it. Don't be ashamed that you have acne. It shows that your immune system's working and functioning, and you have these kamikaze bombs all over your face. So yeah, as far as that goes, that's the biology of pus and diarrhea.
Thanks.
So yeah, I'll pass it over to Brad. We'll talk about something super fun.
Anyone have any specific questions about pus? Okay.
So is it a good thing or a bad thing to talk about?
Generally, you might want to avoid doing that. Not everything in that pimple is dead. You don't want to give them a vessel to spread all over your face or wherever your pimple might be.
Okay. All right, so my name's Brad. I work with microbes to do beneficial things for society. So I usually have bacteria that are in these complex networks called biofilms. And then I use these biofilms to do cool stuff. So usually in the medical field, I'm not going to talk too much about biofilms today, but in the medical field, biofilms are usually associated with really bad things. Like you have an infection in your body because something that was stuck in there now has bacteria growing on it. So the example I have down here of how I use it beneficially is I can use them as a catalyst in a battery and convert poop into a renewable energy source, essentially. But today I want to talk about how everybody poops. Okay? Whether you're Papa Bear or Mama Bear or Baby Bear or the President of the United States. Everybody poops. And I'm pretty sure everybody's shit does stink.
Dirtiest toilet in Scotland.
So today, since everybody poops, you all poop, and you probably wonder about the mystery that happens once, are there a bunch of coins down there? Is there a bunch of magic flowers and mushrooms and I can get big and shoot flames? So what happens when you go down, or your poop goes down that drain? What happens to the Ninja Turtles? They're living in this sewage system, right? So you flush the toilet, your poop goes down, your pee goes down, whatever. It goes into the sewage system. And it travels through the sewage system to a wastewater treatment plant. So how many of you recognize this image, or where this is? A few? Who can tell me where that is? What's this? That's where the Cubs play. How many of you have seen those things right behind the Cubs Stadium, kind of like Epcot Center? Yeah? A few? That's like Disney World for microbes in there. But yeah, your poop goes to a wastewater treatment plant. So this is the Northwest Reclamation Plant in Mesa. This manages about 8 million gallons of wastewater a day. It can handle up to 18 million gallons of wastewater a day. So 8 million gallons of crapola are going through this thing every single day. And what we do, or what happens in these wastewater treatment plants, is there's several steps. But essentially, we're using microorganisms, or bacteria, to eat your poop. Okay? So this is what's called an aeration tank. So if you look back at the slide before, up here, these are aeration tanks that are covered. So they're covered because of what we talked about a little bit earlier. So there's that sulfur in your poop that smells really bad, right? So as these microorganisms are breaking down your poop, they're going to be releasing some of these sulfur compounds. They're going to smell really bad. So a wastewater treatment plant might put a cover over this so that it doesn't ruin everyone's Sunday baseball game. You don't want to be eating your ice cream.
Do they roll that out at night or something? Why is it open now?
Oh no, this is
They
a
just
different.
They just don't care about their neighbors here?
Yeah, this one, located, there's not a lot of houses or people around, so maybe they can save money by not having to cover when they move it way out of town.
Out in the Midwest, it's like they're all like way at the outskirts and they're all open areas.
Yeah. So an interesting thing.
You'll
In here, so the bacteria are eating all your poop, and as they're doing that, they need to breathe oxygen like we do. So we actually have fans in here. So all of these air bubbles you see, so we're actually pumping air. It's kind of crazy to think about. This is just a random statistic, but about 2 to 3% of all the energy expenditures in the U.S. are used to pump air to feed bacteria to eat the poop, right? 2 to 3%. That's pretty significant if you think about it. This is also where the shit hits the fan.
You waited for that one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That was beautiful.
So the wastewater comes in, it gets treated. Where does that wastewater go? Okay. So here we've zoomed out. So here's the Mesa wastewater reclamation plant, and here's the 202. And right across the street you have the Salt River, and you have these reservoirs. Okay. So the wastewater that's coming out, that's been treated, is now put into these reservoirs, or these recharge basins. So what's a recharge basin? So here we have our, you pooped, it went to the treatment plant, it's now going into this infiltration tank. So what is this recharge basin? Basically the water is going to slowly seep through the dirt, and the dirt is going to be like a natural filtration process. So why do they call it a recharge basin? Well, that water is going through the dirt, and it's going to end up back in the aquifer. It's going to end up in an aquifer, where that's kind of where the water is stored until it needs to be used later for some purpose. And so that water can either come out of that aquifer, and then it goes to a drinking water treatment plant. It doesn't go straight into your sink so you can drink it. It goes to a drinking water treatment plant, and then it can be eventually turned into drinking water, right? If you think about where a lot of our water is coming from, right, it's kind of flowing from other states, and et cetera, et cetera. So at the end of the day, we're all kind of drinking everyone's pee. It's my favorite thing to tell everyone. But where else is some of that going? Okay, so over here, we have a bunch of agricultural land. Okay, so water goes down, it goes into an aquifer, it comes out, and it's used to grow your fruits and vegetables. Amazing, huh? Where else does it go? Right? It goes into golf courses. So we have a lot of golf courses in Arizona, which is kind of crazy. We're in the middle of the desert, right? We have all these golf courses everywhere, and they have this lush green grass. And so we use this water after we reclaim it to do agriculture and also to supply all of the water for our golf courses. There's another thing that happens when we're treating all of this wastewater, right? So we're using bacteria to eat all of our poop, and bacteria, like us, as we consume food, we grow and become bigger and faster and stronger and eventually obese and overweight. So these bacteria grow as well, and they're very fruitful and they multiply, and then you get these very large amounts of what's called sludge, right? This is usually what you think about when you think about the sewer, right? It's this sludge, disgusting stuff, either that or like a crazy clown eating you down there you shouldn't be, right? So we have all of this sludge left over. So what do we do with the sludge? We know what we do with the water. What do we do with the sludge part now, the bacterial part? So this is a bunch of sludge that has been dried out. It's been treated to some extent to get rid of like viruses and infectious agents. And it's been rebranded to the term biosolids. What do we do with biosolids? Well, some of you, those of you who are NPR fans, I'm sure most of us are, right, have probably seen this Radio Lab or listened to this Radio Lab from, I don't know, 2010 or, 2013 actually. Okay, the one about the poop train. How many of you heard about this?
I missed that one.
The poop train from New York, right? And they're literally shipping the poop of New York across the town. And then there's been trains that end up stuck in places because there's like crazy like legality in terms of like shipping waste or poop or whatever. So like there was this instance where this train was stuck. It says the poop train's reign of terror in a small town in Alabama has ended. So what's really happening is the sludge being turned into biosolids. A state like New York, for example, might not have enough land to put all their biosolids are, so they're kind of taking their crap, rebranding it as a commodity and trying to sell it to other cities, and they literally ship their biosolids to other cities as fertilizer in trains. And if these trains get stuck somewhere, they sit there and ferment.
This is the best headline I think I've ever read in my life. I just have so much, so much is going on in my head about this poop train's reign of terror.
So I
That's
think it's like,
fantastic.
yeah. Real news is so entertaining. I don't sound like stories. It's incredible. So this town was complaining because it smelled like crap all the time. It smelled trains. So then that, it ends up wherever it's going to go, and then it gets put onto all of the fruits and vegetables that we eat, right? So it gets used as fertilizer for all of this agriculture.
We call those honey wagons.
Honey wagons, right? These honey wagons.
That's so pleasant.
Yeah.
It's very pleasant.
We call them honey wagons, but as my kids going, Uncle found out the hard way, it's like downstate elevator. So Chicago sends it down to downstate Cortex. And so occasionally, you get back straight. And he's like, I'll take pig any day of the week, but with you.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, yeah.